Hi, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours for February 1st, 2022. I spend time twice weekly on Tuesdays at 9:15 a.m. Eastern and Fridays at 9:15 a.m. Eastern, answering questions from people about job search, hiring more effectively, management, leadership, dealing with workplace issues. And if you have a question for me, you can put it into chat. Let me just show you this. Please put your questions about job search, hiring better, management, leadership, or asking for advice about a particular workplace issue into chat. Or in advance of the show, you can also email me at thebiggamehunter@gmail.com. In the subject line, put the phrase office hours. It helps me because it helps me organize in advance. And you'll discover today I answer a lot of questions from folks that are sent to me. I also want to mention that if you visit my website, thebiggamehunter.us, what you can also do is find out about my books and guides to job hunting, schedule time for a free discovery call or coaching session. In my blog, I've got more than 12,000 searchable posts. There's information about my books and guides to job search, jobsearchtv.com. I see this word wrapped because it wound up on two separate screens. Jobsearchtv.com on YouTube. I've got more than 7,000 videos there. And No BS Job Search Advice Radio is the #1 podcast and Apple podcast for job search. More than 2,300 episodes over more than 11 years. And I try to help people land in new roles and perform well there. So the long and the short of it is twice weekly I do this where I answer questions from people. And my day started early, 8 a.m. dermatology appointment, had 2 spots blasted on my head. And hence I'm wearing the hat today. Well, I often wear the hat, but no matter. 2 spots blasted back in time. And all is good, nothing serious. Now, I always start off the show with a coffee toast. Coffee toast. And I'll start off by saying, here's to those of you who, basically, Jeffrey, I'll get to that in just 1 second. I'll do the toast and then come to you, okay? So here's to those of you who put in a big effort, who try hard, who care about what you do, and aren't rewarded, compensated, or treated fairly by your organizations. And yet you still keep plugging and you still keep trying. Good for you. And I want to toast you this morning as a way of acknowledging your effort because you're trying to play big in the world and your organization's trying to keep you controlled and constrained. So I already have one question in chat that I haven't had a chance to look at, but let's see what it says. Why is it so difficult to break into a role where you're clearly qualified? So I just want to make sure I understand the question. Is it within an existing organization or a new organization? Because it does make a difference in how I address this. So if this is about you being a rookie, breaking into the field, that's a little bit different than if you're someone who's working in one line of work and making a career change. So let's just start off with rookie. And perhaps, Jeffrey, you'll clarify this for me as I start talking. So as a rookie, it's hard to break in because you're competing with more experienced people and they just don't know what you're capable of. It's really that simple. The result winds up being they start holding out for experienced people, and unless they've budgeted for rookies, they're less interested. Now, if you're trying to do a career transition within an organization or to step into a new type of role within a firm, they got you boxed in and they like to think of you in that box. You've solved a problem for them. And giving you a chance at something new, frankly, that's risk for them. And your new boss, your old boss has to replace you to boot, where She or he has already determined you're capable. And then from there, on the new side, the new hiring manager, is reluctant because they don't know really what you're capable of in the new type of role. If it's for a new institution, much the same thing applies. Someone has to give you a chance. And the cost of hiring you, given the fact that you have experience, may make it expensive for them to choose to do that. They may be able to hire pure rookies rather than an experienced person doing a career transition who's unwilling to be flexible about compensation. So I didn't get any clarification. I hope this is helpful to you. And if you have more, again, as always, please put your questions about job search, hiring better, management leadership, or dealing with a workplace issue into chat. Okay. Let's go to some of the questions that were sent to me in advance of the show. I'm just making sure there's nothing else there. People who got decent jobs without a real formal interview. How did that happen? Well, there's two ways that come to mind quickly. Number one is, there's bulk hiring going on. People get hired because they need to take on 30 people and have them start on Monday. They are commodity jobs. So all they care about is you can spell the technology or spell the experience that you're going to need, and that you act responsibly when you're on board. To give you an example, in New York, when they were hiring contact tracers, well, the only qualification you needed is taking an online course from Johns Hopkins and passing a test. And then from there, a contracting agency would hire you and pay an hourly rate for you to do contact tracing. No real interview. The only qualification necessary was passing the test. There are other scenarios where I know when I did recruiting, there were firms that hired individuals. We need someone to start training on Saturday. It's Thursday afternoon. Can you get 10 people to our place? And the roles were all good, but fundamentally it wound up being commodity hires. So that's how it happens. No interview necessary. Just show up. They were on my payroll rather than the employer's payroll. Let's see what Kent had to say. I'm looking to shift careers from teaching in a public high school into a corporate position, possibly as an analyst, writer, or trainer. How do I find suitable positions to get my foot in the door? What other positions might be a match for my skill set? So I don't know what kind of teaching you've done, because that has an effect. I'm seeing analyst, writer, or trainer. So there are firms that are looking for training professionals that you obviously have experience with. And LinkedIn has an article today about how teachers are becoming well sought after. So the article, let's see now if I can spot it quickly. Quitting teachers are in high demand. And I'm going to put that link into chat because I happened to notice that earlier in the day. And share it with you that way. So this way you have an idea of the article, so you can come read it and get some advice there. Now, if you had a background in math, perhaps a quantitative role. If you have an advanced degree, that suggests a different type of role. There's a service I recommend that gives people ideas of careers. It's called Career Fitter. And again, I'm going to put that into chat. First, I'm going to show that link that I provided there to Kent. And then from there, I mentioned that there's a service called Career Fitter. And I have a link. I'll put a link to it in the show notes where I recommend people take the premium test and then bear with me for a second, Ken. They take the premium test, and from there, what they're able to do is get recommendations from Career Fitter and get some ideas about what you might be able to do professionally, that fit your personality and skills. So this is an affiliate link. I want to acknowledge that. And all you have to do is go there. There's a premium test. There's the free test. The free test doesn't make recommendations, but I found this particular service is really quite good. So in terms of things that you can do with an English degree and yearbook, newspaper, chemistry, it's pretty divergent that what Kent is sharing with me. I'm not sure that anyone's going to care about yearbook or newspaper these days. Um, you know, yes, in theory, you could go to a newspaper and try and get a job there, but newspapers are a dying industry. Look for, in terms of taking care of those attributes, you got to look at it from the standpoint of what's the market like these days. And I don't know your age because that's a factor as well. When you get to be my age, you don't care because you only have a certain number of years left. Assuming that you're younger, you have to think of what's the next 5, 10 years like and what skills can I learn that will help me adapt in new roles. Chemistry and all sciences, I'm getting the idea, Kent, that you might be a sub in the school system. Maybe you aren't, but when I read such a diverse background, it suggests to me something a little bit different. So I just want to make sure I give you decent advice, and I don't have it today specifically for you. The process I would engage in, though, is to talk to people like yourself who've done transitions out of education. Now, I know I did a podcast interview with someone, and it was the idea of breaking out of education. I'll try and send you a private message since I don't want to go looking for the title of the show or the link to it right now while I'm doing this, but it will give you advice. Her name is, I want to say, Kitty Boitnot, Boitnot. If you go to my website, thebiggamehunter.us, and go to the blog and do a search there, you'll find the video and perhaps the podcast that I did with Kitty, who talks about career transitions specifically for teachers. So that's a launch point. Come back to me if you need more advice, okay? If you get the job offer from a recruiter, how do you navigate the negotiation process? I love that because good for you. You're not just going to simply take it or leave it from the third-party recruiter. So I'm just being clear. Third-party recruiter is probably what they're suggesting rather than the corporate recruiter. So the third-party recruiter is trying to earn a fee, and thus they're going to try and push you into the job. Now, the first thing I want to say is you have to decide if you're willing to walk away from the offer that they've made, or you just want to get it a little bit higher. A little bit higher. I'm going to send you to my video. The single best question to ask, the easiest way to negotiate a higher salary for yourself. Again, on YouTube and at my website and the blog. Again, the easiest way to negotiate a higher salary for yourself. Watch that video. It works with recruiters. It works third-party recruiters and corporate recruiters. It also works with hiring managers. But the idea is to use silence for your advantage. And it could be something as simple as they make the offer and you go, huh. Notice I had pause there and a sound that didn't really say much of anything except for my tone of voice. They immediately know there's a problem. If it's a third-party recruiter, they're panicking that they're going to lose the deal. I'll simply say, watch the video. It will help with negotiating with recruiters. There's also the second easiest way, but I always work with the assumption that most job hunters don't want to lose the deal. They don't want to lose the job. What they're trying to do is get it higher. If it's about the job, you say, if you have some questions about the job itself, ask the third party or corporate recruiter to schedule a 15-minute conversation for you with the hiring manager. So that this way you can get your questions answered. If it's about the money or the benefits, the easiest way to negotiate a higher salary for yourself will help you move up the numbers so that in this way, um, perhaps they increase the offer because often they just want to close it out and they'll up the offer a little bit. Uh, doesn't matter whether it's third party or corporate. Third parties may try and get you to accept an employee referral bonus or some sort of uh, payment from them. I'm not going to encourage you to do or not do. I'm just going to simply point out that's a one-time payment, and next year your salary is still it's going to be based upon the salary from the employer. So no easy answer to this, but when all is said and done, usually you can get an agency recruiter to get their client to up the offer because they're afraid of losing the fee associated with you joining. Can a supervisor dismiss an employee when they see their profile on LinkedIn? Their profile on LinkedIn doesn't mean anything. They have a profile on LinkedIn, I'm sure, as well. So why would they dismiss you or fire you when they're doing the exact same thing? And I also want to say, in most states in the United States, you're an at-will employee. They can fire you for any reason whatsoever because you're employed at will. So at will means at their discretion. They don't need you, they let you go. So uh, can they do it? Yes. Should they do it? No, because they are someone who has a profile on LinkedIn too. Look up their profile. Look up their name on LinkedIn. Take a look at their profile. You'll see what I mean. Ah, a question that someone asked of employers. When finishing up an interview, why do you escort some of us out? That's pretty easy. Number one is they want to make sure you get to the front door without interrupting their people and going, "Hi, how's it like working here?" Or, theft does occur. And it's also a more casual opportunity to chat with you and make personal connection. The interview is over, your guard may be down, and the result winds up being um, you're more willing to be more revealing, with the result being you may share something inappropriate that allows them to go, "Boy, I dodged a bullet on that one." So I'm going to pause here and go, if you have a question about job search, hiring better, management, leadership, or want some advice about a particular workplace issue, put your question into chat. I'd be very happy to answer it. Okay. Here we go. Another question. Um, do you think it's a good idea to message the hiring manager after the interview on the company messaging portal when applying for an internal position, or is it creepy? It's not creepy. Now, if you're doing it, 12 times in a week, that's obnoxious, not creepy. But you're an employee, you've interviewed for a position, and you wait a couple of days. Now, you should have in the interview asked them when you might hear about next steps in the process. And whatever they say, you could follow up by saying, let's say it was Monday. So if I haven't heard from you by Wednesday, Thursday, is it okay if I follow up with you? And that would give you a sense of when to follow up so that this way you're not being obnoxious or putting them in the position of feeling like you're doing anything other than following up, like you had discussed with them. So is it wrong to follow up with them? Absolutely not. You can say something to the effect of, "I just want you to know how interested I am in the role. I look forward to next steps. Do you have any more questions for me that I could address? Obviously, I could answer it in the portal, or we could schedule a quick call or Zoom or video session, and I could address your questions. But whatever it is, no, it's not creepy. Just don't do it all the time. And if they don't respond, be patient. Don't just immediately the next day go, "Hey, you didn't get back to me." They know what they're doing. They're not ready to get back to you. So it's okay to do it. Just don't be obnoxious about it. Why do you have to meet in person on a job interview? Why can't you just tell your qualifications over the phone? Whew. So I made a sound there because not everyone is honest. And I'm not questioning this person's honesty, but others may not be honest. Hey, look, there was a guy who did a video. It was a video interview, and he was a technologist, and he had his someone else answer all the technical questions, and he was mouthing something, but the answers were not in sync with what the answer was. So you're watching a guy um, doing like a foreign movie with the answers dubbed in English, and the result winds up being that um, it was very clear to the interviewer that this person wasn't answering the questions. On phone interviews, who's to say that this person answering the question isn't the candidate? They might not be. And thus, firms want to see you in person to confirm that you can answer questions, that you don't look like a sociopath or act like one in person. And they just want to make sure that you're normal and can get along with their people. They also want to introduce their people to you. So there's a lot of reasons, but it all starts off with people lie. I'm not saying you, but people do lie. And they want to avoid getting trapped by someone who does lie. Now, Jeffrey came back and he added in, if I was offered three possible positions but haven't heard anything, what should be my next move? Now, when you say offer three possible positions, salary offer, job offer, like three positions to interview for, I'm not sure. Three possible positions, maybe you need to interview for them to get an idea of what would be expected of you. If it's you actually have offers, well, where I start off with people is helping them identify their North Star. And that is asking this question: what's most important to you in the next job or organization? What will you need to see or hear to believe it's a good choice for you? So if you actually have an offer, the idea is to match up against the job description and see how this fits what it is you really want in the next job or organization. Once you have that, what you're able to do is to get an idea of how these three positions match up. That will be your guide to making the right choice so that you're not manipulated into something that doesn't make sense for you. Remember, if you're working through agency recruiters or even corporate recruiters, they're all going to say, "This is a great job with a terrific, we're a terrific organization. This hiring manager is fabulous. What's it going to take to bring on board?" And the real question comes down to, they're talking money, but you need to think about all the other variables too: role, responsibilities, expectations, career pathing, what future can come out of this for you. A lot of things to consider. So come back to that question: what's most important to you in the next job or organization? What will you need to see or hear to believe it's a good choice for you? And once you have that, prioritize your answer, with one being the most important and whatever the total number is the least important. Uh, and focus in on the top 4 or 5 and see how these positions match up. So that's how you address 3 offers. And let's go to the next question. When applying for a job, is it better to write up a resume based upon an available template or create your own? Um, I'm not a liker of templates, and the reason is most of them contain frames. That is pre-programmed boxes that you're putting information into that some applicant tracking systems struggle with parsing. So no one is going to manually input your resume, but the idea is find a template that you like and copy it. And don't use boxes or pre-programmed boxes. Just follow the formatting and that will work fine. Are most messages from recruiters on LinkedIn just a scam? No. There's nothing in it for them as a recruiter to scam you. What they're trying to do is fill a job and they're sending a message to you. Let's say they saw your profile, or they did a search using LinkedIn Recruiter, which is the LinkedIn product that is sold to corporate and third-party recruiters that allows them to search the entire database. So they do a keyword search. They do a certain amount of experience search. Let's say it's 0 to 1 year of experience, 2 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 or more becomes the experience that they're able to search for. Degree or no degree, geographic area. There's lots of criteria in LinkedIn Recruiter that they're able to search by. And thus, they're messaging you because they have a position they're trying to fill that will allow them to make a lot of money in the way of a fee. So just recognize that it's not a scam. They're not getting back to you because you may not have impressed them, or number 2, you're not actually qualified. They don't have to look at your profile to message you. In LinkedIn Recruiter, you're just a search result that fit these parameters, and they may have just messaged to you directly. I always tell people, be courteous and respond back. The reason is LinkedIn will charge them if you don't reply within 90 days. It will cost them 1 in-mail. If you reply back, it is credited back to their account. So do them the courtesy of replying back. It will serve you and will help them. Next question. Oh, I like this one. How should a young leader lead a team of mostly senior members and those who are above par in knowledge by comparison? Well, it starts off with when you got this assignment, what were you told about the team? What's your role? Now, are you a leader or a manager? I suspect a manager. You could also be an associate who's coordinating information, reporting to a real manager. I don't know for a fact. But how do you lead people? Well, people want to be encouraged. They also need to be monitored. I think it was former President Nixon who coined the phrase trust but verify. So more experienced people sometimes are dismissive of younger individuals. And thus, if they're not giving you data that you need, you meet with them privately and say, hey, look, help me help you. Why is I'm not getting what I need in a timely way, and I need this for reporting purposes. I don't think you want me to escalate this. Just give me what you know you're supposed to give me. And this way, I'm able to keep people out of your hair and can provide management with the information they need. If you are legitimately managing, schedule regular huddles with them, get together with them, talk with them about what resistance they're running into institutionally and what you can do to help them. Support them in getting things done. But I need to know a lot more to be able to guide you, including how much experience you have. So I'm going to put it into chat again and say if you have a question about job search, hiring better, management, leadership, or asking for advice on a workplace issue, put that into chat so I can address it. Also, visit my website to schedule time for a discovery call, a coaching session, to visit my blog, which has more than 12,000 searchable posts. Find out about my courses, books, and guides. Also, I'm going to encourage you, my YouTube channel at jobsearchtv.com. It's also on Amazon, but I also have, it has more than 7,000 videos on YouTube at this point. My podcast is #1 in Apple Podcasts for job search. 2,300 plus episodes over more than 11 years. On Spotify, it's available as a video podcast. On the other platforms, it's purely audio. So subscribe. I hope you get some advice that's helpful to you there as well as on this show. I have more questions, but I'm only going to answer 2 more and then come back to these some more on Friday. Or to the ones I didn't answer. I'll start the show with those as well as any questions that come in through chat. Do all company recruiters have a special source of information on a candidate's background that employees don't know about? Ooh, the secret repository of all candidate information. The answer is no, and remember, you may have applied and interviewed with a company before. They may have an employee who worked at your firm before who they can check with about your performance at that firm. So, is there secret information that no one knows about? You know, if there's someone who you worked with who's working at that company, that's information that they can contact this person and ask them about you. So the long and the short of it is a formal repository of information? No. Ways that they can find out about you back channel? Yes. Last question for today. Unless someone puts something into chat, why does HR auto decline job applications even though the applicant is well overqualified? Are they just looking for some keywords? Well, if you're really overqualified, which most people aren't, but let's assume that you are for a second, you may be overqualified and they're thinking you're too expensive for them. So I'll give an example. The person who applies for the manager job, who's a VP at a competitor, they know what you're earning. They're not going to waste their time interviewing you for something 2 levels down from where you are because they're not going to pay you enough to get you to join. You may be making over $200,000 and their job is paying $130,000 to $140,000. That's about, discernment on their part that they don't want to waste their time. And thus, let's go to the overqualified comment. Overqualified means too senior. Too senior equals too expensive. They can't afford you. So it's kind of like in dating when you go out with a person who's, quote, out of your league. Well, you wind up in situations that you can't handle. Well, it's going to be the same thing for them. They feel like they're wasting their time if they interview someone who's too senior and thus overqualified. What's the point of doing that? Just because you want to take an interview and feel good and say, hey, I turned down an opportunity with so-and-so firm. That's like, there's nothing in it for them. That's more about you and your ego. and feeling good about saying no to a lower level opportunity, they're being proactive and saying, I don't want to waste my time with you. So unless you have more questions for chat, I'm going to simply say, I hope you found this helpful. I'm back Friday at 9:15 a.m. with more. That's 9:15 a.m. Eastern. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. Visit my website, thebiggamehunter.us, where I have a ton in the blog that you can watch, listen to, or read that'll help you find work more quickly. In addition, you can schedule time for a free discovery call, a coaching session, find out about my courses, books, and guides. There's a whole lot at the website to help you. I also encourage you to visit jobsearchtv.com on YouTube and subscribe to my podcast, No BS Job Search Advice Radio. That's 2,300 plus episodes on the podcast. More than 7,000 videos on the YouTube channel. There's a lot there to help you without question. I'll also mention, sorry, I got distracted by something. I apologize. Connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. I'll be back Friday at 9:15 a.m. Eastern with more. I'm Jeff Altman. Have a terrific day and be great. Take care.